What are some little known relationship green flags? I feel like there's a lot of detailed examples that largely boil down to two things: empathy and emotional maturity. It's sad that those two are so often lacking that people become surprised by it. Being able to emotionally connect even after an argument. Absolutely. During the beginning of our relationship, whenever my partner and I would argue, he would try to hold my hand, rub my arm, or hug me as we talked. When I'm wound up, I feel like I need space to think, like physical space, so I would always push him away. We'd always get to a point in our arguments where he would just shut down or walk out of the apartment, and I couldn't figure out why. I thought that he just didn't care enough to talk these things out with me. Finally I learned that physical touch is a big part of his love language, and that was what he needed during/after our fights, to feel emotionally connected with me. Since then, when one of us gets upset, we hold hands and talk things out. It's a weird small thing that's made a huge difference in our relationship. The ability to coexist in very companionable silence. A friend of mine once said, when silence is not cringe, the friendship is real. Honesty, genuine interest in each other's hobbies. Don't have to do them, but at least support it. Strong communication. You feel like you're hanging out with your best friend. Except you wanna smash. Bold of you to, or I don't wanna smash my best friend. You don't feel like they are playing games. Communication is direct, and you don't feel too nervous about what you should or shouldn't do or say, and you're not worried about what they do or don't do or say. Some butterflies is normal, of course. Edit. To clarify, my point here is it's possible to meet someone who, right from the beginning, you're not overly concerned about your interactions. You don't have to think too much about what to text them or when. Same with calls. They don't leave you wondering about when they will respond to you and what delaying means. They don't say or do cryptic things that you have to go home and call in a panel of friends to analyze. This is not to say that, in the beginning, you shouldn't take care to be on your better behavior and not to overshare. This is not game playing, it's being considerate. Cheesy but true. Communication in a relationship is like cell phone service. Lose it, and you start playing games. No matter how angry you are at one another, you will still go out of your way, or they go out of their way to help. He'll be wicked pissed, but he'll angrily make my wife her favorite dinner, even though I don't want to eat. No matter how angry we are at one another, usually only last a short period of time. We will never sabotage or try to teach them a lesson. Many times, it ends up being both apologizing to one another. Arguing and getting angry is just part of a relationship and unavoidable. It is how you deal with it that sets it apart from a healthy relationship versus a bad one. Edit. Thanks for the reward thingies. There is never any harm telling someone you love them. I'm chuckling at the mental image of angrily cooking a meal. Use my razor without asking. Harumph. Tell me I'm becoming my dad. I'll show you. Now, where'd I put the frickin' basil? Ducking make you the best goddamn spaghetti you ever had. We'll see who's being unreasonable. I drink a lot of water, and sometimes my BF would stay until late, and I would fall asleep. Before leaving, he always made sure I had a glass full of water on my nightstand in case I woke up thirsty. It's always the small details. Edit. I drink a healthy amount of water. Thank you for your concern, lol. My boyfriend does this too. I'm never without a water glass. If he walks by and it isn't full, he fills it up. When your so takes criticism from you seriously without immediately trying to turn it back on you. If the converse is also true, you two stand a great chance of going the distance. I think it's important to realize that this is where you can be out the gate, or it's somewhere you can get to. My wife reacts very poorly to criticism, not because she can't stand to have flaws in her behavior pointed out, but because she feels that when I criticize her actions, I'm telling her that she's garbage, and in a day or two I'll be telling her to move out. That's a direct effect of her upbringing, and what's important is that she recognizes the issue for what it is, and we talk about it. It's made us so much better. Listening to you and remembering the things you've said. Back when me and my boyfriend started dating, he'd sometimes bring up things that I've said before. My favorite foods, candies, etc. Made me super happy and could tell he genuinely cared. I'm so bad at remembering details like this. I've started to record them in my phone for friends and partners, and it enables me to be so much more thoughtful. E.g., a friend of mine mentioned that 2 of her favorite desserts were cannoli and cake. So for her birthday I made her a cannoli cake. She was so touched and didn't remember saying it, so it came across as very insightful. Haharita. I'm so glad that my most upvoted comment is about my most fiercely kept secret in my friendships. Hopefully it helps all of you out. Active listening. Not just being there while you talk, acutely giving opinions, advice if asked for, and generally caring for the conversion. Bonus. Active listening during an argument. Not trying to win, but trying to resolve the problem. Edit. Grammar. This is super important, but also the polar opposite is important. Being able to comfortably sit together in complete silence for prolonged periods is a good green flag. Non-sexual compliments. Not really sure if this counts because we're not in a relationship, but last fall semester, my friend asked if I could help her with something. I hadn't seen her in a while, and while I was talking to her she said, "You got new glees?" I said yes. They really suit you. It honestly made my day. Compliments really go a long way. Being able to have healthy conflict without fear that conflict will cause the end of the relationship. It's green flag and a relief to have natural disagreements and communication about those disagreements without constant fear that someone's going to hit the nuclear option. Edit. Also doctoring my coffee and bringing it to me in bed was a smaller green flag. Edit 2. Doctoring meaning putting cream and sugar in, and thank you for the awards and gold Reddit friends. Underrated comment. Also, no matter how pissed off you are at E/O, you're still supporting, respectful, and considerate of one another. Edit. For clarification, E/O equals each other. And thanks for the gold, fellow Redditor. Laughter. And also, I've been with my partner for 40 years this month, and I still smile when I see him across a room. He still makes me laugh, and my heart soars when I think of him. Awesome. And congratulations to you both. Been with my wife almost 10 years now, and she always tells me how she loves that I make her laugh at least once every day. I hope she still says the same thing 30 years from now. Your partner does things for you without asking and remembers little details. For example, I like eating with a fruit fork, the smaller version of the dinner fork. I actually googled that since our family calls them the little forks lol. Anyway, my partner remembers this and will grab it for me when we're dishing up food. Another good one is they make you feel appreciated. Edit. It may be a cake fork or salad fork. OMG, same here. My fiancée always grabs me the little forks, or as I like to call them, normal forks. She prefers the monster forks. Regardless, it's such a simple, nothing gesture that shows she's listening and she cares. Marrying that wonderful person this Saturday. Edit. Been working all day and just checked in. Thank you all for the well wishes. We are super excited. Not the wedding we had envisioned when we got engaged, but it's going to be perfect. If it's a chore you both hate, you do it together. My late husband and I both hated folding laundry, but it had to be done. So we always did it together. Made the chore less of a pain. My dad did that with us growing up. Anytime he needed to run errands or do housework he would ask me or my brother to keep him company and talk to him. He said that made it was less about being bored and annoyed by doing chores and more happy hanging out and bonding time with his kids. It was always fun too. He genuinely did like spending time with us and joking around. We were never super close because he was pretty strict, but I always liked that quality time with him. It's a pretty convoluted story, but I was dating a guy, had to drive his car to get him from a situation, and wrecked his car due to mechanical failure, and called my mama to come get me so we could go get him. Rescued him. Then had to tell him I'd wrecked his car. His first question, "Are you okay?" My mom overheard. That one's a keeper. I've told this story before, but a week or two into dating my boyfriend, I was driving to work, and one of the wheels fell off my car on the highway. I pulled over to the side of the road and called my boss and a tow truck, and then texted my new beau just for comfort. He asked where on the highway I was, and said he'd be right there, without hesitating. When he showed up and ran across the busy highway and scooped me up into a hug, I felt so loved and safe and thought, oh jeez, this could be the one. They trust you to stay at their apartment alone. Yeah, I thought I was the only one. The first time my partner said I could stay at his place in the morning to sleep in when he ran errands made me feel so good. You recommend them a book or movie and they actually take the time to check it out. Once I dated a guy who would lie about watching things I recommended. I didn't figure it out at first, but when he told me that I felt so heartbroken. Why? If she shows equal interest in hanging out with you, if it feels like you're dragging them into going on a date, they're really not into you, no matter what they may say. Besides, let's be honest. Wouldn't you rather date someone who is as excited and interested in seeing you and you are in seeing them? Exactly this. I've instantly lost attraction to a few girls because they were just so fake in terms of interest. People can act all they want, but their interest in hanging out is a clear way to tell if they really care. Came home from working a 12-hour shift one night to a full dinner with my favorite dessert. Never had a girlfriend just decide to cook me a full meal for me to come home to like that. That's so sweet. Able to forgive mistakes. Early in our relationship I accidentally backed my car into my fiance's car while coming out of the driveway. I definitely did damage. I immediately started freaking out and crying and he just calmly got out of his car, came up to mine, and asked if I was okay. He got me to calm down and said it was fine, it was just an accident. He never made me feel bad about it. He called it a little bump to my friends to minimize my embarrassment. We laugh about it to this day. Side note, his dad who works with cars fixed his car for him at no cost. Edit. No, he did not have any way of knowing his dad would/could fix the car. His father is not a mechanic. His father knows a mechanic. His father didn't bring up fixing the car until several months later. Husband and I were moving furniture out of a U-Haul, and it had been a long day. My patience was short. I was mouthing off at him for taking too long to take the ramp down. I know he was frustrated with me. I decided I was going to take stuff out of the truck ramp or not. Well, I fell down and hurt myself. Before I even fully felt the pain and realized what happened, he was right next to me, making sure I was alright, and got me cleaned up and put the band-aid on for me, even though I didn't feel like I deserved it. You want your partner to be happy and not the other way around. Oftentimes people want to be in a relationship to solely make themselves happy. Edit. My point is different from making your partner happy and completely forgetting your own happiness. I heard somewhere that in a relationship it shouldn't be to make yourself happy, it should be to have someone that you can share that happiness with. When you never have to question their whereabouts and you get that safe feeling. A lot of couples I know have tracking devices on their phone. How TF do you live like that? Edit. I see a lot of replies saying they do it for safety, convenience, or whatever, but at least one of the people in those relationships has control issues at the very least. You don't feel like you're competing for their time. You're just loved. Even when they are busy, you don't have to worry. People think you need to spend all your time with someone. You don't. But the feeling of being loved removes any jealousy or insecurities. You just know it's good. Damn. This makes me feel lonely. Lol, I remembered what that feels like. Can't wait to feel this again. Genuine support in your life goals, even if that means you two will have to go long distance for a while, or will have to have conflicting work schedule, or it will make your relationship harder in some way. If they love you and want you to be happy, they will be genuinely interested in what you want to do and will try to support you to do that in whatever way they can. They won't hold you back in any way. This is something me and my so have been facing something similar to this recently. Has just graduated and is looking for a job. As much as I want him to stay close by, so we don't have to do long distance for any more time than we have to, him going home for the summer. But if he gets a job the other side of the country, I won't stop him, and as long as I'm around, I'll help him pack up. I love this. When you're on a road trip and your partner feeds you fries and helps you drink your soda or whatever, I think that's such a nice simple gesture of kindness. Yes, and there are many responsibilities being the co-driver. Extra points. My ex would tease me a lot and would tease me in front of his family. He would say things like, oh, she changed her outfit 3 times because she thought you guys would judge her. Or she didn't really want to come over, but I convinced her. He would be laughing and joking, but these things would be the truth. When I was going to meet my current boyfriend's family, I was really nervous. In the car I said, please don't tell them how nervous I am. It's so embarrassing. He looked at me in shock and said, I'm on your side. Why would I tell them that? And it was like a freaking light bulb. Love this guy. My ex always did this to me. Once, his sister-in-law even asked me how I put up with it and confirmed that it made the rest of the family uncomfortable. Putting the shopping cart back. The ultimate litmus for being a good person. They respect your food issues, weather preferences, allergies, etc. Bonus points, they defend you to their blood relatives. That was something that saddened me about my ex. I'm celiac, no gluten, and every time we discussed restaurants, she'd get pissy about me checking if it had gluten-free options. Not a helpful comment, but I just wanted to say reading these gave me back some faith in humanity and reminded me of all the wonderful people in my life that I'm lucky enough to have experienced these green flags with. Thanks Reddit. Made me cry because I've not been having a good time of it lately. Very subtle things that show they're a genuine person. Remembering things that you have told them and following up is definitely a good sign. I'm always surprised if someone I haven't talked to in a while remembers a couple basic things I mentioned to them in passing. Like what I do for a living, what my biggest interests are. I love the fact that they are not bothered by the number of bodies buried in my basement. Calling/texting just to see how you're doing, even if they don't need anything. Edit, use the wrong you're despite being a grammar fanatic. My girlfriend does this a lot. Likewise, I do the same. It makes my day hearing from her, even if it's a short conversation. Telling the little details about your day. There's something really precious about that, and you feel in tune with the other person. While we were dating, my now wife would always put on a fake diamond ring whenever she would go out with her girlfriends. When I noticed it once and asked her about it, she said she would do it because it would discourage most, certainly not all, guys from hitting on her. It showed the type of person she was and was such a simple and easy gesture that no one I ever dated before had ever done. I obviously had to replace that fake one with a real one. Close bracket. I did this as a waitress in a past relationship to discourage the creepy older men. Boyfriend saw the set in my car console and threw it out on the highway. Should have taken it as a sign then and not when he blindsided me with a breakup 6 months later. It feels easy, effortless, unforced, natural. This is a good sign of a real connection. Compromise feels like second nature. You both breath thoughtfulness and consideration towards each other. You figure things out together. You see each other, respect each other, and appreciate each other. This deserves more attention. I feel like a lot of people, especially younger people who've just begun dating, don't realize that love shouldn't feel forced or constantly difficult. Everyone goes through rough patches, but you shouldn't feel like you're in an eternal rough patch. Maybe this is just me, but when someone doesn't care too much about people's opinions of them, like when they aren't afraid to act goofy in front of people they don't know. I absolutely love people that don't take themselves too seriously. This can backfire sometimes. I also like people like this, but most often I find it becomes an indicator of someone who doesn't take responsibility well. I suppose a mix of not taking yourself seriously but also displaying the ability to take yourself seriously would be what to look for. If you two are able to compromise. Back in 1997 my then girlfriend and I were at a workshop on conflict resolution. It was for a training conference we were attending because we belonged to different volunteer programs both funded by the state. The theme of this conflict resolution training was that compromise was bad because you should find a win-win solution rather than a compromise where no one wins. We sat there on our 6-month dating anniversary nonetheless, thinking it was an odd philosophy. The trainer herself, who was newly married, told us the story of how she likes to roll the tube of toothpaste and her husband likes to squeeze. So rather than argue about it, they keep 2 tubes of toothpaste in the bathroom. This is ducking stupid. You can't just buy 2 of everything when you don't agree. I whispered to my girlfriend. Tell me about it, she said. It's just toothpaste. Can you imagine what they'll do when they have to fight over something bigger? I mean, we both squeeze a tube, but if I had to I would roll it for you. Same here, I replied. Let's take good notes and not do things their way, I suggested. I don't see that marriage lasting long. Neither do I, she replied. That woman and I are still together and have our 18-year wedding anniversary later this month. The trainer, last I heard, divorced that husband of hers within 5 years of that training. If they treat waiters/waitresses respectfully. Edit, of course, this alone isn't going to determine if they're a good person, just like any other green flag. It's simply one thing to pick up on that could be an indication. I think this is such a well-known green flag that many people, men especially, treat waitstaff better when a potential partner is around to witness the good treatment. They communicate if they will be delayed and how long they will be. Talk things through before it becomes a screaming match, not after. Asks about boundaries/traumas and doesn't judge you for them, but instead respects them. Oh, and talks through triggers they accidentally hit. My husband and I have both had abusive relationships in the past, and we work very hard on trying to recognize triggers and articulate what tripped them. The person makes time for you. Whether it's a romantic relationship or a friendship, people will always find a way to make time for those they care about. Let's say I'm super busy with my day. I can find 10 seconds to respond to your text. I have to eat a meal at some point, so even if I'm super pressed, I can invite you to have a meal with me at restaurant, at a fast food place, at someone's home. I can call you when I'm driving in my car. It baffles me when people say I was too busy. Too busy to what? You mean you couldn't spare 10 seconds from your day to try to nourish your relationship with the other person? We all know you were on your phone while pooping. You cold texted then. That really hits me hard. I was in a kind of relationship that's been going on for 8 months. She is the love of my life and she just never made time for me. It was always me who wrote long text messages when we couldn't see each other, etc. We wanted to give the relationship a chance after me move into another city, but she dumped me up like 8x. One day I just stopped writing her, and after 2 weeks she kinda noticed it. She wouldn't wanna talk with me, what's wrong, and was insulting me when I told her that she needs to give me more attention. I'd feel like a horrible person for loving such a person so much. I just hope that it gets better. They text you first. Makes you feel good, and you know they genuinely wanna talk and like your presence. I'm an hour ahead of my partner. Usually I'm the first to send a cute good morning type text, and I switch them up a little each day. Well, Sunday night/Monday morning I took off from work and was able to sleep in. Waking up to her sending the first move had me smiling like crazy. Was such a good feeling knowing it is reciprocated back to me. When you like the person that you become when you're with them. Everyone projects a different version of themselves around different people, and if you don't like who you become when you're with someone, it's probably not going to be the healthiest relationship. Your so should bring out the best in you. Deleted. I believe in you. Sending you strength to get yourself to a better position in life, where you are loved and truly valued. Good people are out there. Don't lose faith. It's the small things. The doing something just because it will make your partner smile and expecting/wanting nothing in return. A few months ago I was having a bad day and had texted my partner about the basics, and he said to head over to his place after work. I showed up so defeated by the day, opened the door, and my dog is there. He had spoken with my parents, picked up my dog from their house because he knew that's what I needed. He was cooking dinner and told me to just go cuddle on the bed with my dog while he took care of everything else. That's when I knew he and I were in it for the long haul. Yes, this is so important. I remember being really busy researching once and getting to my desk in the morning to find that my partner at the time had set out every I needed for the day already to save me emailing everything. When he came back later, he didn't think it was a big deal, but it was such a thoughtful gesture. I just remember seeing all my stuff ready on the desk and feeling so cared for. Asking follow-up questions about their stories instead of just offering comparative experiences shows they are trying to understand and learn instead of just relate. Sometimes comparative experiences are to demonstrate that they understand and do not need additional explanation, or that they have something in common with you and is a form of reciprocation. This is very healthy. I think that is different than simply pivoting to themselves constantly for attention or validation for the sake of making themselves the center of everything. Some people just spend an inordinate amount of time talking about themselves and use any excuse possible to do so, even at the expense of hijacking another person's story without any real acknowledgement of the details of that story, or before the story completely unfolds. Some forms of anxiety are expressed in this way, where a person constantly tries to get reassurance through flipping the conversation to them and their feelings and their life and experiences. They actually want to spend time with you. Being good with animals. Remembering things you said, like foods you don't like, or topics you are passionate about. Is your partner comprehensive when you are sincere and honest? Are you free to say what you think without being scolded? This. Especially being able to say your thoughts and your partner not get defensive. We all need to be able to call each other out on our bull. My wife says the biggest early test I passed was when we went to Goodwill together at the very start of everything. She was looking at some wedding dresses on the rack and asking my opinion. I told her not to bother. Our family business is basically tailoring. Costume shop where all the rentals are handmade in shop by a certified grandmaster costumer. Yes, that's a thing. And we could make whatever she wanted to her exact requirements for a fraction of the price. Later on she told me it was a test to see if I'd run away screaming at the idea of getting married. Like, nope, there's no point to me in dating if that isn't the end goal. We got married and she got her custom made wedding dress for free because we already had the fabric she liked. Close bracket. On the other hand, all of those tests are a bit odd. This is dumb, but that's something that sticks out to me. When my girlfriend and I first started to date, she remembered the game, Escape from Tarkov. I was obsessed with and always asked about it. I knew she was the one for me when she opened up our Bumble chat with an always sunny line. Openly farting in front of you. That's a real level of being comfortable around your other half. I've been married for a very long time, and I still try to not fart in front of my wife out of respect. Willingness to attend family events / get to know your family, regardless of how difficult it might be. Having similar hobbies and the same taste in food goes a long way to help both people grow together. He food one is interesting. I had very different tastes than my ex. She was vegan and gluten free. I was absolutely not, but I really enjoyed getting to try all the foods she introduced me to. It got me out of some bad habits as well, because suddenly fast food wasn't much of an option when we were together, and I focus more on healthy eating. Empathy. Willingness to forgive you when you make a mistake / speak in anger / etc. rather than hold a grudge or try to punish you. Doesn't mean they won't still be upset, of course. Willingness to admit fault and take responsibility when they make a mistake / speak in anger / etc. and work on their own negative behaviors. Related. Taking you seriously when something upsets you, even if it doesn't seem like a big deal from their perspective. Not losing their temper when things don't go their way. Example, do you want to be with someone who blows up when the car breaks down on a road trip and makes everyone else miserable, or the person who calmly calls a repair service and tries to make the best of it? Not making personal attacks during arguments. Focusing more on how they are feeling and fixing the problem at hand, and then reconciling afterward, rather than lashing out with a list of perceived character flaws. Example, I feel disrespected when. Rather than you're such a disrespectful, expletive of choice. Genuine care for you and others, a lack of self-centeredness. Being open to hear the perspectives of others, even when they don't agree. And understanding that they are not the center of the universe, they are not always right, and there is always something to learn. In short, emotional maturity. Removed. Yes, Feo, once I went to a guy's place, a guy I really liked, and all of my security and liking of him went away when every wall had holes in it. Like, okay, when is that gonna be my face? They're happy you have your own things you're into. You're happy they have their own things they're into. There's no battle of preferences, no nasty little hobby is dumb comments. My boyfriend has PTSD from his ex for always being pissed at him for playing video games and even called it pathetic, and I can see it genuinely surprises him when I encourage him to play because I know how badly he wants to reach a certain rank. I think it's lovable how games make him so happy, and we even play co-op games like Stardew Valley as a way of spending time together. Minor things people should do out of common decency that have nothing to do with relationships. Op didn't specify what type of relationship. These are all great, but here's one that matters more for the longer term. Being competent at life. I'm not saying being rich or having a fantastic job or anything. I mean someone who is able to set a goal and work towards achieving it. No matter what that is, it makes a huge difference in life. Someone who can do that is less likely to sabotage your marriage for selfish/immature reasons. Someone who can do that probably won't drag you down with credit card debt. They have impulse control, so they probably won't cheat on you or leave you for some stupid reason. That person is a keeper. This is way underrated and so important. My husband is such a good adult. It makes married life, owning a home, and all that grown-up stuff easy. When I met my current partner, we spent 3 consecutive days together. I generally don't like anyone in my personal space for more than a few hours. I also cried when he left to go home. We were long distance at the time. That's how I knew he was the one. When each person can find contentment without the other being present. A common red flag is the expectation that someone else can make you happy, when in reality that's something only you can do for yourself. The above is the opposite of that. Both of you feel like you are dating up. Knowing when to stop. If I say to stop something as a joke, yeah lol IDC, if you actually stop or not. But if I seriously say to stop, and you stop, holy damn, that's amazing. 3. When he/she is liked by the rest of your family. I don't really agree with this one. Your family doesn't necessarily have good judgment. It's okay to sit quietly and know nothing's wrong. It's okay to read a book on one end of the couch and the other person is doing whatever they want on the other end of the couch, and that's okay. Saying that you want something or need something is not an attack, and you both know it. Basically, being comfortable being you around your partner and being able to communicate in the event that you're not comfortable. My current boyfriend isn't good at telling me he loves me. He's not good at communicating or picking up cues sometimes because of him being autistic. I've noticed though that there's a lot of little things he does that tell me he cares. I've made a mental list. When we watch a movie, he makes sure the blanket covers my toes and that I'm not cold and that I'm comfy. He doesn't just ignore me while the movie is going, and has always making sure I'm comfortable and happy. When we go out and I'm pulling off a hoodie, he grabs my t-shirt and holds the hem down to make sure I don't flash everyone when it lifts. It means a lot, and it's a bit funny to me that he's always watching what I'm doing and being careful. He always makes sure to walk me home now, especially after I told him I was grabbed in broad daylight and didn't want to walk home alone at night. With previous exes, they'd have dismissed me and told me to suck it up, or that no way was anyone doing that to me. He listens to me when I say I'm uncomfortable and makes sure to always ask multiple times just to check. He was extremely accepting and reassuring when I told him about being molested and abused when I was younger. He's not overly possessive, and he believes in me, which means a lot. MB and I've had exes on both sides think badly and or him cheating. He does not. He never does. He doesn't mind that my roommate is another guy and that I make semi-erotic content. He's wonderful. One of my favorite things is that he's great at communicating and working with me on little problems. He likes to listen to my perspective first and my solution, and he always trusts me and what I think. She cleans when she's stressed. So when she moved in she cleaned all the time, then after the first year together now I clean. Haha. When THR other person takes an interest into something you're interested in, even though you know the other person doesn't really care about it. When they don't make fun of you for not knowing things. That is one of my pet peeves about people, especially having been brought up very sheltered. There are many things I'm unaware of. When someone faults you for not knowing something, it's a sign that they are insecure themselves and wish to frame themselves as superior. Having someone treat you with fairness and equality when you reveal a lack of knowledge about something is so underrated. When a person is nice to people for no reason, friendly to waitstaff, etc., is always on time, opens the door for other people, asks about you instead of constantly talking about themselves. Here are some more good/bad signs. Video games. Always video games, if you are both into them. Gotta be careful though, as there are some quite different types of gamers, and not all get along. If they wear a mask in public. Arguments are productive and fair. You listen to each other even when you're angry. They can still be difficult, and everyone gets too angry sometimes. But if one or both of you is constantly mad and fixating on the same issue, it's time to go to therapy or get out of there. Little thoughtful things that tiny bit mean a lot to you and send a bigger message that they care. Not checking their phone constantly during a first date. I don't think this one counts. You've just added not before a red flag. Thoughtful gestures. During COVID, my partner was an essential worker while I was not. He likes to game, so I'd have a blunt rolled and a fresh pot of coffee made when he got home. He picked up some Harry Potter Legos and art supplies for me to keep me entertained during quarantine. He fills up my water glass on the nightstand. Before he goes to work, I'll pack his lunch the night before. It's the small things that sometimes leave the biggest impressions. Wasn't this question just asked? Exactly why I came here. It was literally days ago. Loyalty. Pretty sad, the shortage of this. I fart. She smiles. She farts. I clap and or fist pump. Oh my. You watched until the end? That's fucking awesome, dude. Thanks for watching.